Well, welcome. We actually are going to start in a different order so that we can swear in our new members. I am going to make a motion to have the current Vice President and President and Secretary stand in ad hoc this month until we nominate the slate next month, so that the current officers can swear in our new members. We probably should have done this last month, but we didn't. So sorry. You want to make the motion?
I was just going to second.
I make a motion to have Chuck Burke as president, Deirdre Clark as vice president, Yadira Ramos Herbert as secretary for the month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh,
Well, no,
I can't
you
vote
can't
yet.
do it.
Sorry.
Just you.
You four.
Yeah, aye.
All opposed? Very good. So now I'm going to do something else. I am actually going to now make a motion to not to create a nominating committee so that they can do the work that we just did temporarily. Whitney Barrett is going to be chair of that committee. So I nominate, or I make a motion to have a nominating committee with Whitney Barrett as chair. All those in, oh, I need somebody to second that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
So small.
Okay. You are the nominating committee, and you can, all right, you can get your people. So now that we've done that, I can actually swear in Daniel and Sarah. So, I, Sarah Cullen Langlois,
I, Sarah Cullen Langlois,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Board of Library Trustees
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
of Board of Library Trustees
of Board of Library Trustees
for a term to expire
for a term to expire
June 30th, 2023
June 30th, 2023
in New Rochelle,
in New Rochelle,
New York,
New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
There you are. I, Daniel Bonet,
I, Daniel Bonet,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of
of the office of
Board of Library Trustees
Board of Library Trustees
for a term to expire
for a term to expire
June 30th, 2023
June 30th, 2023
in New Rochelle,
in New Rochelle,
New York,
New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Okay, we are going to continue with the meeting. Under new unfinished business, we are going to talk about the downtown development update. Moving forward, we've created a committee, a needs assessment committee. Moving forward, that will go down to regular business because it will just be updates as part of that committee. But we have a report that Whitney is going to do. Sure. And on that committee is Whitney, myself, and Corey.
Okay, so we just had our first needs assessment committee meeting. We are currently mapping out the work of the committee. The work involves, first and foremost, thinking about what is possible, and from there, what we want. So we are embarking upon what we're calling just a period of discovery. That includes planning, and right now we're thinking about things like outreach and how to conduct it. We know already there are some elements that are non-negotiable. The primary one being that, as always, whatever we do must benefit the community. To the maximum ability possible. And we'd like to create and incorporate something like a community benefits manifesto, something that the community has been involved in creating. So it's something to refer to as a guide as we move through this process, something that people know and trust because they've been a part of creating it, and that's pretty much about as far as we've gotten. Thank you.
Could I?
You don't have to. Okay.
One thing I'd like to add, and I promised I'd send this document to the committee last month, and I didn't, but I will tomorrow. The staff put together sort of a wish list and an idealized version of what our library could be and should be, and I'd like to make it available to the committee.
Yes,
Use it as-
staff is a
an
wonderful place
element.
to start.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think, yeah, just, and I've said this to folks individually, but just wanting to make sure that the staff who are the front line of the place sort of are engaged in some capacity, maybe even exploring setting up an opportunity to chat with them if somebody wanted to chat and sort of or trying to figure out like who are appropriate sort of pulse points in the org chart.
Yeah.
We could sort of get some real-time feedback.
I think at some point, if the committee could have a meeting with the staff, I think it would be an extraordinary benefit to the library, because the staff, they're here, they work hard,
Every day.
they know the situation, and I know they'd like to share, and they have insight.
No, I mean, I think it should be an inclusive process, and one of many times that we would, I think
Yeah.
as a part of the process, we would engage the staff regularly as partners, thought partners in this process. Absolutely. That's a great point.
I think one of the things we discovered is that the library, in one of the states that we did some research on, that libraries are the epicenter of towns, and they actually bring a lot of value independently on their own. So it really allows us to say, wow, there's a lot of intrinsic value that is currently in this building that we may want to look at independently of any other party. So we may have, at least from what we were originally seeing, something more valuable than what we previously thought, that makes it internal and holistic without going to any outside sources.
So with that, does anybody else want to say anything?
I think it's off to a great start.
Thanks. We are going to go to public discussion.
Good evening. Good evening.
I don't think it's on. Is it on?
Yes.
It's on.
Cities. Good evening. I'd like to congratulate the new board members. Congratulations to both Daniel and Sarah. You have a lot of work ahead of you. There's some very serious, significant decisions that impact the whole community, and I know the whole community is relying very heavily on you, and the weight of some very serious decisions rely on you. I know myself, I've been very carefully studying the documents that were foiled, and I'm sure you all have as well, and I'm sure that they will be weighing on you in this decision, and we hope that you will be reaching out to the community for input on this topic. In addition, I know I've personally been speaking with Sarah about some of the things how on the library, and how the library interacts with the school, and I'd like perhaps that conversation to occur as well, and have those conversations continue. I know that Yadira has been in communication and attended many school board meetings, so I'd like those communications and the interactions between the school and the library to continue, and continuing conversations to go on. Okay, thank you.
I think, Denise, you were referring to, anybody who doesn't know, we put 700 pages of foiled request information on the website. So we were asked we had a FOIL request, and we provided the results online, so if anybody wants to do some,
Fascinating.
I won't say what I was thinking, but
Riveting,
some
yeah.
riveting reading, it's there for you guys.
Yes, I'm discussing actually with your fellow board member, Mr. Barrett.
Okay, good. Dorothy Oliver is the next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Dorothy Oliver. I'm a resident of New Rochelle. My question, I was just, sort of perusing, to be honest, the foil. And I noticed the redacting that was going on there. And I just wondered why were you doing that? And my other question was, how do you make a decision when you didn't have a full board? When you make your decision at the last meeting, you remember you came up with a committee, and I was just wondering, how do you do that? And you didn't have your full board who was voted in by us. All right. So if you could respond to that in any way, the redacting.
How did we make it, is the question, how were decisions made about redacting? Like who
Yes,
made them,
and-
what was the thought process?
Yes.
So it was, go ahead.
Yep, no, I can answer that, Dorothy. And it was a decision that was made by our attorneys at their bequest.
It was made by who, sir? I'm sorry.
Our lawyers.
Our lawyers, Dorothy, made that decision. We had absolutely no input. We just furnished the documents, and they went through and they made the decisions to redact based on the law.
Okay, thank you. Let me tell you something. When you do that, make sure that you get a good night's sleep if you do that for it. 700 pages going back and forth, answering questions.
The next speaker is Monique Ebelard.
Good evening. I'm Monique Everard, and I just want to congratulate all the new committee members. And I have a statement. The former library board member and now Westchester County legislator, Damon Mayer, he mentioned the importance of stakeholders. Okay. With that, I have a question. How would you find out? How will the Needs Assessment Committee find out the needs of the stakeholders, and how will they involve the stakeholders in that needs assessment process?
That's a great question. That's something we've talked about. How do we include the community? How do we make sure that their input is included? We can't really do anything without the community, and so that's kind of key. We're going to report to you guys every single month what we're doing, how we're doing it. I don't have an answer for how we're going to do that specifically, other than to say I know we need to do it. I mean, do you have more?
Yeah, I think the structure has to be community-driven. So anything we do is going to be from the point of view of the input from the community. So we're not making unilateral decisions. We're making decisions based on, this is what we talked about today, data-driven decisions made from the community that we'll then put into action.
And collecting the data, how are we
Yeah.
doing that?
We're still doing discovery on that.
Yeah.
So how we
Yeah.
formulate, but there'll be enough data for us to get from the community to make our decisions.
That said, if you have thoughts and ideas around who stakeholders are and how we should do that, we would love that information. We take all and every, okay?
Can I just, I would just add also that,
Monique.
sorry, I just want to add something that the hope is that you will know the answers to the questions per your involvement going forward, that if you want to be involved and that there are, that we have many outlets and avenues to plug into so that you know this because you're part of it. And that's, I think, our objective.
So our goal is never to have you surprised.
Right, okay.
Our goal is like, if you guys are hearing something and you're surprised, then we've missed a mark. So We have started again, and we're trying to figure this out, and one of the things we know is that you guys have to, you should never be surprised. We're responding to you, like Corey said.
Thank you so much.
Marjorie?
So I would also like to congratulate the new board members. And I do really appreciate the Needs Assessment Committee. The timing of it did confuse me, though, that this got formed before you had a fully sworn-in board. And so I'm just curious if you could speak to why that is, that this was formed before, you know, especially before the 2 5-year term members were part of this.
Because we still had to continue to do the work. If we, as a board, decide we need to set up a different committee, then we'd be open to do that. It wasn't done to circumvent certainly what they would bring to the table at all.
Okay. On the FOIL, I've had a chance to go through most of it, not in as much detail as I wanted to, but there's also a part that has, and maybe you can explain this, the deleted text, quoted text deleted. It's in parentheses in many of the emails.
That's because otherwise you'd be printing, it would be 800 or 900 pages. It's just repetitive of the previous emails that you already have probably multiple copies of anyway.
Okay.
When you forward something and like, it's the email thread.
Okay.
And so it's because you already have it.
All right, so it's not that things were deleted
No.
from there. Okay.
That's illegal.
Okay.
Right, it's part of the
I
FOIL, we have
didn't-
to show everything.
I didn't
The
know
only
that.
thing I think that was mentioned was the things that were redacted, and you can see them in the black, and that was an attorney's decision that I just learned tonight also.
Okay.
What that was.
In terms of the needs assessment, I really appreciate, how you're really, rethinking, or not rethinking it, but really trying to explore how to best reach out to people. I know quite a while ago there was a survey that was done, and I had some real concerns about that survey because people are asked sort of pie-in-the-sky questions on that without the sense that they might have to give up something if there was a redevelopment or, if this library was taken away and put in another building. So I just think it's really important that especially for the new trustees and for all of you to look at that it's not fair to ask somebody, would you like a state-of-the-art huge auditorium without telling them that they'd be giving up other things as well. I just think it's really, really important that you see that. I also want to say to the new members that we're going to be putting together, we've written a lot of letters, we've had a lot of communication with the board that we're going to put together a packet of that for you so that you can have some history as to how we all started to come to these meetings and have been involved. So we're going to put that together, and we hope that you will take the time to look at that. Okay?
So just one thing Marjorie is saying for us to think about is just be, as we formulate any survey, that we are clear that we don't have guiding questions.
Right.
And I think that's perfectly fair and right.
Um,
We hear you.
And I would just answer also with respect to the discovery phase that we're in right now and looking into what's possible. That includes the entire spectrum of everything from everybody's worst possible nightmare to everyone's absolute ultimate nirvana fantasy for what the library is in New Rochelle, and narrow it down from there based on what the community is telling us. So I think the world right now is open to anything, and so we'll probably have to figure out what those questions are. And do you go to the library? Do you read books? Everything to narrow down until we get to a comfortable range that seems to be. We're not going to please everybody. Obviously, you can never do that, but we want to please the most people that we can who live here because we serve them.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else? That's it? Okay. Thanks, everyone. We will move on. Did you guys get a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any changes? No changes?
No.
Changes.
The second paragraph, it just says Chuck Burke. There's missing a verb What did Chuck Burke do? Did he move something?
Indicated?
Indicated? Just, I didn't know if
Declared.
it was a motion.
Yeah, declared.
Okay. Stipulated.
Stipulate.
Exclaimed.
You tell me.
I don't know.
Indicated?
You can say said, indicated.
I think he indicated. It was a
Indicated.
motion, yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
Just
it wasn't a motion, it was just an information soundbite.
I found a typo, Tom.
I thought so. Where?
It's, this documentation was also made available electronically on the website. Same paragraph.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Thanks,
That's
Jean.
what, I mean, it's great to have somebody that's, has an editorial eye. It's all good.
It's minor.
Yeah, still.
So can I make a motion? Is everybody ready?
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from Thursday, June 14th,
As amended.
as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are accepted. I don't have, next on the agenda is financial reports. I don't have any, do you, that you'd like to, or do you put that in your?
You know, it is in the packets for each board member. And basically, we are wrapping up the fiscal year that ended in June. I know Jean and the administration staff is working quite hard, and I expect that we'll have far more information so we can share where we stand in August. But she's raising her hand. Right. So, I mean, we can give, anecdotal information as we understand the financial reports that the school district composed. But in an unofficial way, I understand that we're in reasonably good shape. It's tight, but we think that we'll be in the black when we close the books. And as far as statistics, again, we're busy. This is one of our busiest times of the year. We're seeing an influx of families who are using our library both for the summer reading game, for our programs, and just people independently coming in to read or to stay out of the heat. Of course, staying out of the heat in this building these last few days has been a challenge because of our malfunctioning air conditioning system, but that all will be taken care of tomorrow. And we're closing at 1 o'clock because we're bringing the system down so we can make repairs in the cooling tower, and then things should be fine on Saturday. But so we're busy. Yeah, it is fast.
I just want to do a plug for one of the classes, our camps. It's called Your New Rochelle, and it's every afternoon this week at 2 o'clock, and my 10-year-olds have been in it. And they have enjoyed it, and I want to thank you. And it's really great to be able to actually use the services and see it. You kind of talk about it, and we hear about it. So it's been great. They've loved it. They sat in your chair today, by the way.
Oh wow! And my office is
in your office. Yeah.
I had an epiphany. All right.
We actually do have a WLS report, not with us, not in our hands. The rep there said she would send it.
Okay, I didn't see it.
No, she didn't send it yet.
Right. My brief comments would be that the Directors Association, the County Directors Association is meeting on next week, next Thursday. And so I'll share whatever happens at the August meeting. And that something that I've talked about before, and I'll talk about a little more detail later in my director's report, that there is another round of New York State Library construction grants. We are gearing up to apply for yet another one. We're very hopeful. Thanks to the intrepid legislator, our legislative contingent in particular, supportive of libraries. We saw an increase overall for state aid for libraries, and in particular, library state construction grant monies has dramatically increased. 2 years ago, it was just about $650,000 for Westchester, splitting among 38 libraries. Now I'm told Westchester will see just over $1.5 million. So a lot more money for us to split up to use to continue to improve our physical plants. So good things are happening at the Westchester Library System.
Great. And I don't have a report. I'm going to hand it over to you to do your director's
All right,
report.
thank you. I do have a report. Let me just organize my stuff. Again, talking about grants, the grant for the theater HVAC, we are hopefully will be closing that sometime later this month. As you folks know, we received over $78,000 from the state to replace the non-functional theater HVAC system. Of course, in the summertime people froze, in the wintertime people broiled, and we hired a consultant, a project manager, GC Eng, and he did a great job. He marshaled the forces of the vendors who won in a public bid, and the theater was closed up until Tuesday at around 12, as per our stipulation, and the theater opened just a little bit before 12, therefore available for our international music and dance program that was held at 7 o'clock.
You can see the
Yep.
proof of it all.
You can see it up
The
there.
tube is
Yep.
new.
So that's all new. As we speak, our HVAC vendor is commissioning the system. Doesn't feel cool in here right now, I know that. But it's not bad. But it will be functioning even better, and we'll have actual control over it, so we can control careening cool or hot air. And so it was successful. It was a really a good effort. And again, as far as this grant is concerned, we're hoping to close it out later this month. So that grant is sort of in the bag. As far as the grant for that we're about to apply for, the state, the New York State Library construction grant money, we're trying to put together a grant for the second floor to enhance various aspects of that floor, whether it be technology, things as simple as carpet and paint. We want to change the help center because, of course, we do a lot of social service counseling there. Instead of a wide open room, we'd like to make it more private so people can have private conversations that other people aren't privy to, as well as an open space, a local history room, some teen area improvements. So we're pulling that together slowly but surely, and so we hope to have something for board consideration this August. As far as the other grant, the Gateway grant for $275,000 for our first floor circulation area lobby space, check hasn't arrived yet, which is pretty typical for the state of New York, but we hope to get it maybe in August, and we hope to start this project later at the end of this calendar year. So that's that. We have a $10,000 grant from the Smart Family Foundation to transform the former Friends Bookstore into a volunteer center. And so our custodians are working on creating 2 new study rooms on the second floor. Once that's done, they'll start there. The monies that the Smart Family Foundation gave us will allow us to buy the furniture and the technology and the flooring and all the other things that we need to make the room useful. And it will be for our friends, our foundation, and for other volunteer groups. They can use that space and have some resources at their ready. So that's moving forward. Just I forgot to mention, going back to that Circulation Gateway project, the foundation has a fundraising effort underway. I gather they're doing fairly well. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they've reached some sort of milestone, not half, but maybe a third or so. So that's great. They are seeking to raise $92,000 for our match, so we don't have to spend our money, and I'm fairly confident that they will do so.
What's their deadline for that?
That's a good question. I think it's September. I think that's what they're shooting for, Whitney. We're also in the loop, thanks to the efforts of Senator Stuart Cousins. We may be able to get some grant money for this project, the project in the Gateway area, and we've applied for it. Haven't heard anything yet. Keeping our fingers crossed, of course, for that.
I'd love to know, like I asked you, if we get that money, is it matching? Does it mean that the fund can do less money? I just would love to know what that means.
I haven't gotten a straight answer, but what might happen might be that the grant might be for half of the foundation match,
Okay.
So it would be a
So then if they raised half, they'd be fine?
Right.
Of the 92?
Right.
Okay.
That's what, as I understood it, that was how I thought it would work, but I think we'll find out.
And these are reimbursement-based grants, correct?
Yes, yeah. So I'm feeling very optimistic about that. We're also going to be applying for another state grant for next year, in addition to the second floor grant, and that's at the Huguenot Children's Library. Our furnace, our gas furnace, which is 25 years old, is limping along, and we're ready to replace it. Not a very expensive effort, but, the state grant regulations allow for a library to apply for a grant for each building. So we're going for the Huguenot Children's Library, which we've done in years past, where we've gotten money for, new windows and lighting. We've done replacement windows as well. We've done interior renovation. So we try to take advantage of that.
How much is that grant for?
This grant will probably be for, we have a quote that I believe is for maybe 30,000. So what the grant would be for 3/4 of that amount, and then we'd have to come up with the final matching amount. Now, we may have to do it ourselves, or I'm hoping that the partnership or the partnership's money through the foundation, which is a future update a little later in my report, will do that. So I'm hoping we don't have to pay, even come up with the matching amount, which is not a lot, but yet nonetheless. So that's really sort of where we stand as far as our grants are going. We're always looking for money. We've actually, thanks to the foundation, there's a local family that is in the process of seeking to sell their home. They have some really valuable, interesting art, including some outside sculptures. And so they're looking at the possibility of our taking that. And I'm a real believer in public art, and we've done some great public art too. And so Chuck actually saw it, and these are the, I'll share it with you, the 3 pieces that up for consideration. One piece is a very nice nude woman, which doesn't seem a good fit here, but you can all take a look at it. And we won't make the final decision. We're going to, Chris Sellen and I will go and take a look at it once she comes back from her well-deserved vacation, and we'll share with you. But so we have some ideas where we might be able to place it to, again, to make our space more appealing, more attractive, welcoming.
And these are donated.
Donated, and the donor would not only donate the sculpture, which is nice, but they'll take care of the moving costs, which is not inexpensive, and the sighting arrangements too.
And what about insurance?
What's that?
Insurance?
You mean once it's here? I don't know about that. That might be on us. But we do have an insurance rider that covers some of our art.
Policy or something.
Well, we do have a gift policy too that we need to employ if we decide to go forward with that. That was thanks to the policy committee. We did that, I think, last year.
Yeah.
So we do have rules and regulations that will guide us as we go forward. So that's sort of exciting. And we've also, we've also been the lucky recipient of furniture and office equipment and things like that, where companies that are, choosing to redecorate or going out of business or moving, and we just have taken taking possession of new tables and desks and filing cabinets and chairs, and so we're also trying to make our space more attractive and not have to spend money doing so.
You've done a good job with that, thanks. You
Yeah,
really have.
we're a bit of scavengers, but, honestly,
Scavengers are good.
why not? So that's that. Let's see, where else do we stand in terms of...
Is there, would we have the history of what this art is and where it came from?
Yeah,
And
we'll get the provenance.
Good.
And this family has really some extraordinary art in their home, and I think some of it's going to Sotheby's, and, so that's understandable. But...
and also, could you say no to it?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's the caveat. When Chris Sellen comes back, I think we're going to, because I was away when they did their visit earlier this week, we're going to sort of circle back and talk to the granddaughter of the donors being quite elderly, and we'll talk about opportunities. And apparently, they also have an extraordinary art book collection. I mean, really extraordinary.
Well, that would be neat if we had the art book here. You show it to them. That would be neat if we had the art book here.
Yeah. So, I've actually been speaking with another family about potential donations, and so it's an ongoing thing. As I said, we're always looking to find a way to better the library at no expense to the library. Right. Let's see what else. I don't want to steal the thunder from Daniel. He may not have the statistic. I'm going to let him talk about programs. But I did hear from our acting children's librarian, and she tells me that our summer reading program, which kicked off, I believe, on June 23rd, we have, as of today, well over 260 children signed up for summer reading, and they have read over 260.
Oh, good.
It's good. And we'll get more. I know we will get more. And they've read over 1,100 books, which is really cool. So that's good.
Wonderful.
So let's see what else. Almost done, folks. As far as the Friends are concerned, I just want to mention that their book sale is coming up on August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Their board meeting is August 8th. And the foundation has actually, there's quite a number of things to talk about. First of all, in our very popular Cocktails and Conversation series, the foundation has just scheduled another session, which will be September 13th, a Thursday night.
Who's the author?
The author is, well, first of all, the moderator will be wonderful Amy Bass, Dr. Amy Bass from College of New Rochelle, who just published a very successful book, One Goal, that was optioned by Netflix. Yeah. So Amy will moderate a discussion with Rhiannon Navin. She is the author of Only Child, and Kate Way, who her debut documentary film, G is for Gun, recently aired on PBS. Navin's book, which has garnered great reviews, tells the story of a 6-year-old boy who survived a deadly shooting in a school and finds the strength to go forward and help the adults in his life. And Ms. Way's film documents a growing program in Ohio that is training school staff to respond to active shooter situations with guns, and follows the story of one Ohio community that's very divided over the idea of arming its teachers. So the evening will begin at 6:30 at Alvin and Friends, which is across the street. Cost is $50 per person, including 2 glasses of wine or beer and some nibbles. And so we've had some great programs in the past, and I encourage anybody in the audience, board members, or somebody out there in TV land to take some time and go. It's an educational night, and it's a fun night.
September 13th?
13th, yep, 6:30. Other issues, the foundation is working through a serious conversation with the Partnership for the Huguenot Children's Library Board about the framework for a document, a legal document, a memorandum of understanding between the foundation and the partnership. And so they're working through the issue of somehow bringing the partnership and its assets to the foundation. And there's nothing to announce yet. They haven't reached any final conclusions, but I gather they're making significant progress. Let's see, Foundation's working on ongoing work on planned giving campaign. A foundation, this is exciting, Chris Sellen just told me they locked it in, is preparing to celebrate its 25th anniversary as an organization in existence. And I can tell you it's an organization that has made a big difference here, changed the face of the library, has given us millions and millions of dollars to make our library a better place for our community. They are working on this event. It will be May 9th.
Can we, as a trustee board, do anything to honor them or whatever? Or can we, I mean, actually, we should think about, it's not till May, it's
Right.
not till next year, but perhaps we should think about a way to do something in recognition of everything they've always done.
What I would think is, if people can afford to attend, that's great. I think if we could take out a journal ad, that's great. And I also think we should talk to our legislators on the local, county, and state level for some sort of, award, some sort of certificate, commemorating the kind of work and contributions they've made.
Sure,
You know.
sure. Okay,
That's what I'm thinking.
That's good.
So May 9th, and I believe it's going to be at the recently renovated Davenport, is what I understand. So that should be nice. And again, Chris's note was that the Gateway project is, the donations for this project is moving forward. And that's it, as far as the foundation and my report.
One question. I haven't heard back from Jeffrey about, have you?
I was away, but I will reach out to, would you like me to reach out to Jeffrey?
Yeah. So we still don't have an agreement with the school board. And obviously, we've been working on that for a while, and so I mentioned it to.
How long has it been now?
A long time.
Well over a year.
So I mentioned it to Jeffrey, and he really wanted kind of the history.
Yep.
The president of the board.
Can I call him?
Yes, call him yourself. And give him the-
Tomorrow?
And and you guys can work it
Let
through.
me write this down.
Yeah. He's on vacation. Oh, yeah, he might be on vacation.
Okay.
Is he on
Well-
vacation? He's not back yet? Oh, my gosh, he takes some kind of vacation.
All right.
All right, well, so in 3 weeks, call Jeffrey.
Got it. Call in August.
Okay.
Nice.
But he's ready to help us with it. He
Good,
is,
good. That we could use it. It would be great to wrap that up.
Do you have a personnel report?
I do.
Okay.
Let's see. First of all, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the resignation of Andrew Baez. Andrew is our full-time library clerk in tech services. His salary is $44,196, and his last day of employment was July 6th. And just as a by-the-by, Andrew's a smart young man, and he is going to be a teacher, and he will be teaching, and his master's in education will be paid for by
Nice.
by the school that he will be attending. He'll be teaching English in Harlem, and I think it started already under the training. So Andrew's going onward and upward. So if I could have a motion?
So to accept the,
Yeah.
I make a motion to accept the resignation of
Andrew Baez.
Andrew Baez.
A second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Great.
Okay, every year around this time, we co-sponsor with the Partnership for the Huguenot Children's Library, the Huguenot Children's Library summertime fun on the patio. And the process is that they are employees of the library, but their wages are paid for by donations made or grants made by the Partnership for the Huguenot Children's Library. So this program is a drop-in program, basically from 10 to 4, 5 days a week. They hire young people that are community members, and so I'm going to ask for a motion to include all of these employees that were hired by the partnership and have already begun, and hopefully people are taking advantage of this program for their kids or their grandchildren or friends, et cetera. So I will ask for a motion allowing us to hire, I'll start from the top here, Campbell Alfaro at $11.50 per hour, Cameron Bishop, $11 per hour, Marina Lopes at $15 per hour, Isabel Morrow at $11.50 per hour, Anthony Salvaggio at $11.50 per hour. They all started on June 25th. And the final person, Madeline Bishop, at $11 per hour. She began on July 9th. So if I could have a motion?
Sure. I make a motion to accept the hires as so detailed.
A second.
All in favor?
And just as a sidebar and a sad note, one of our longtime excellent library clerks, Barbara Hickey, who was with us for over 20 years, passed away on June 26th. She was suddenly ill, and so to that, we're sorry and sympathies to her family and friends. So, and that ends my personal report.
Okay. We will now move to committee reports.
Can I quickly just insert for committees? We need to. I have a proposal of some new. There's new people, new slots, and new opportunities. So I'll share that after this meeting. I guess Sarah wouldn't get the WLS email.
She's on the email.
Sarah has a
Aren't you on the
WLS email. She does.
You have the, oh, you do, okay, so then I'll
Yeah,
just
and
circulate
Corey
that.
too.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. So I'll circulate that, and then we can both comment, and then for the next meeting, we'll all sort of know our committees, so forthcoming.
So when we talk about committee reports, then we are talking about the already standing committees. The Budget Committee does not have anything. Buildings and Grounds might, I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
we
I do.
have, okay.
Yeah. A bunch of things, some really good, some a little troubling, but nothing that we are not overcoming. The good news is, as I said earlier, our theater HVAC project is wrapping up. It was done on time, on budget, and we're very happy about that.
Very
Yay.
good, yay, on time, on budget.
On time, on
Amazing.
budget. Can't ask for better. So that's really good news. The Huguenot Children's Library walkway is almost there. We have done the vast majority of the work, and really, when I say we, I mean Mickey Facina and her family. She was the one who was part of the partnership at that time, many years ago, and raised, did the brick campaign that raised, I believe, over $250,000. And so there were some repairs needed for this walkway. The partnership chose, because of their, future, to allow us to fix the sidewalk, and our goal, the board's goal, was to fix it, but to reestablish the bricks that had fallen apart, that were given by people in the community, and maybe in memory of somebody, or to celebrate a person, a child. So Mickey has worked very hard to pull that together. We have paid for the bricks, we have paid for the masonry work, and right now, I'm happy to say that we're almost at the end. Mickey is doing one final look to make sure that no one has lost a brick in this
That's
effort.
so good.
Yeah,
That's good.
I mean, she and her family have spent a tremendous amount of time to bring the sidewalk back to where it was, and so we're not there yet. Mickey's on vacation, but we're going to meet when she comes back. We're going to review and make sure that there are no bricks missing. If there are, we'll order them, and they'll get installed, and it'll be good. And just in terms of building stuff, I mentioned that our theater, I mentioned our theater HVAC project, which will bring the theater system online very soon. Our regular HVAC system, we're experiencing problems with our tower, our cooling tower, and so the bearings are shot. I think the blade is also problematic, and we have a price. They're coming tomorrow, our vendor, and they should make it operational at the end of the day, and so therefore on Saturday when we're open, it should be comfortable once again. We also experienced a problem with our elevator. It went down. For some frustrating reason, our vendor did not respond in as timely a manner as we thought, so we're talking to them about that, but I'm happy to say the elevator is functioning now as well. So it was a little challenging because this was happening, and I was away for a few days, but I really, really feel it's important to say, public meeting, that our lead custodian, Rob Florin, has done an unbelievable job. He's really a great guy, so easy to work with and smart and handy. And while I was on vacation, we were kind of going back and forth on calls, and I was calling people, but he was keeping me up to date, and he really stepped up in a big way, and I'm really grateful, and the community should be grateful for employees like Rob who went over and above. And so that's Buildings and Grounds.
Okay. Community Relations, Foundation, that's you.
Okay, so community relations. Just a couple of things happening. July 6th through July 26th in the Lumen Winter Gallery, there's going to be an exhibit called Summer Pleasures, works by Roxanne Mapp and Steri Paul. Definitely check it out. There's also going to be an event July 17th, a kind of a musical concert, Westchester Klezmer Project. So definitely check it out. There's other events that are happening throughout the summer for many youth and early childhood programs. I want to thank Corey for representing the board at the Ready launch that happened on the steps of City Hall, which is a launch that focuses on the social and emotional curriculum of our youth and young adults in our community to be employable. It's not just a focus on just resume or dressing for success, but it's more of the social and emotional focus on how to deal with pressures in a workplace, interviews, and so forth. READI stands, each of them are workplace attributes: respect, enthusiasm, articulate, dependable, and initiative. And this is what we're looking for our youth in our community. And we're doing a big push across the board for community-based organizations have signed up. There will be a train-the-trainer, so you can learn how to incorporate the curriculum into your programs. And Tom, I would ask to see if any of the teen staff, librarian staff that work with the teen programs, if they have the time to come for the training. I will send you the dates when that happens. The curriculum is completely free, and it's a really cool curriculum. I've seen it work, and it's pretty awesome. I also want to thank the library is actually participating in the Summer Youth Employment Program. So in other words, the library has been able to take youth from our community, and they're working here supporting the library staff and I believe facilities. So that's an opportunity that I really appreciate, the library really being involved in the community and just giving a work opportunity for our young people. Also, to Denise, to your point that you mentioned earlier about the board being involved more with the schools and incorporating the New Rochelle Public Library Foundation, Chris Sellen and Heather Brown and myself met with Trinity Elementary School, Mr. Michael Hildebrand, and our goal is to really speak to the other administrators to see how we can fit in and kind of filling in the gaps and the needs that the students may have in regards to literacy and learning. We really want to help kind of see how we can incorporate programming in the schools and motivate our community and educate them about the resources that the library has. Many individuals, one of the things that Mr. Hildebrand stated is, we get so much paperwork, like flyers that go into the envelopes or the folders of the students. The majority of time just, going right through them. He gave an example that one of these summer programs that are happening in Isaac for the 5th graders that were transitioning to the 6th grade, they only had like 4 or 5 registrations. And we're talking about, 3 elementary schools going into the Isaac program, and same thing for Albert Leonard, low turnout. So we're trying to figure out a way how we can kind of inform members of the community, especially parents, about the resources, books, and how to get a library card and events that are happening, especially those parents that have children that are super young and they're dropping off their kids at the school, and what do I do with my 1-year-old or 2-year-old, so they can come to programming here, but they do not know of it if they don't receive the newsletter or come to the library to pick it up. So we're really trying to incorporate and really be an integrating part of the school system and the families, and really seeing how we can have perhaps just talks right now, satellite programming at the schools where it can branch extensions to our main campus here. So we're really trying to work hard and kind of incorporate that.
When I was young in this community, we won't have this now, but we had these bookmobiles that went to the schools, which were just fabulous. I know we'll never do that because it's like outdated, but they did what you're talking about. They kind of connected the schools with the libraries in a very tangible way. So.
Yeah, so that's something that we can explore, and we can see where we can really make something happen. Another piece to that I want to add is that I'm going to be reaching out to Jeff from the school board to really talk about, to see if we can do a combined training or workshop as a board on, number one, kind of like an undoing racism cultural competency training, as well as a adult and youth mental health first aid. training. As a board, I think it will be good for us to kind of really get some training behind it and work together as two boards that represent our members of the community, different areas, but really working together and seeing eye to eye. So I will be cultivating that as we move forward, okay?
Okay.
I think the only thing, I just wanted to ask, not ask, more raise the garden in Lincoln Park. They're having a fundraiser on the 19th. I don't consider myself a yogi, but it's a yoga, like hors d'oeuvres, wine. I've been going. They do Saturday classes. It's $5, but Ashley's wonderful. Miss Linda, Mr. Stewart are there, and it helps to sort of continue growing the library. So for anybody who's watching or anybody here who kind of wants to hang out in the park, it's really nice. I'm learning. I'm appreciating. I feel like I'm learning so much, and I just kind of went on a whim, and I've just really loved it. So I just sort of want to see as much support go to the park as possible. They're doing so much cool stuff. And then something that and maybe we should talk about this in one of the committees. I was on a trip once, and the library did a pop-up in the park. Like, I was with my kids in another city, and they just like rolled up with like these beach mats and some sort of portable cart, and then did like story time. And Lincoln just got their new park, so I guess we've been there a lot. I'm seeing like a lot more, Ms. Oliver, you probably can attest to this, a lot more in different families, I feel like, in the neighborhood, even in the 2 weeks it's been open. So, and I don't know what liability and all those issues are, but it just seemed like it seems easy because I didn't have to set it up the one I saw, but it seemed like another way to sort of connect that way. And again, like I'm on my block, I'm seeing just like a really robust kind of energy, like lots of new faces, and it's been a lot of fun. So if we can sort of meet people where they are, and even if it's like a story time or something, I would love to help sort of think about that or facilitate something. And the park, it was built really like under shades and trees. So I could see it being where we're not, the old park really, there wasn't a lot of cover. You were like in the sun, but here, a way to do it, people are baking while there's a couple of books, right? You can sit on the benches and sort of chat and not swelter. So anyway, flagging it, if there's a way that I would be really happy to help, just to sort of connect the library that way.
Absolutely.
Is that a bribe, Ms. Oliver?
Speaking of tomatoes, I also just want to plug the Grand Market that's here every Saturday, right here in the library green. Has great programming for kids but yes, so support our.
This one's gonna be fun. It's people like Bastille Day.
It's Bastille Day, yeah.
Like,
oh wow, fun.
Our French connections.
Yeah. They're gonna show that movie, The Red Balloon. I think that as a kid.
No, I know.
So
I love that.
they're showing it at 1 o'clock in the.
I love the Red Balloon.
I just want to add one thing that in going back to the assessment committee in regards to community relations, it goes hand in hand. My goal, and I think it's as a board here, is to have the community know that we are here for them, listening to them, trust us, and also be aware that these programs exist.
Right.
The more involvement that we have from the community, from our youth to our Hispanic community to many of us speak many different languages here on this table, and we just really want to incorporate that. So approaching this in talking about pop-up libraries and going into the schools, it's really not only to provide the resources, but really to make that connection to the epicenter of the city, which is our hub. This is our hub, and really getting people involved and motivated and engaged in the process. So.
Okay.
I just want to add something. I want to speak to what Denise had mentioned. As most of you are aware, the school district is going through re-registration, and there was a document posted that said a library card could be used as a form of identification. So we wanted to know, does a non-resident library card, does it say non-resident on there? I only have a resident card, so I didn't know the answer
Right.
to that.
New Rochelle residents have library cards with a specific kind of barcode that indicates that you are indeed a New Rochelle resident. Someone who lives in Mount Vernon, Yonkers, Bronxville, all have a unique barcode. So the system will know that, Sarah, you indeed are a New Rochelle resident. Someone else.
That won't
that
work,
system,
though.
yeah.
Yeah, that won't work because when you go to re-register, at the schools, they're not going to know.
They're not scanning.
Got it. Got it.
It doesn't say non-resident.
But it's interesting.
Oftentimes, the card, the physical card will say New Rochelle Public
It
Library.
does say New Rochelle Public.
Or it will say Bronxville, or it will say Mount Vernon.
I guess the real question is, do you have to be a resident to have a New Rochelle Public Library? No, you don't.
No, For $75, a non-Westchester resident can have a card. But if you live in Bronxville and you want a New Rochelle Library card, you have to have a Bronxville card. That's the rules of the county and of the state. If you worked here is also possible, and also, I suppose, if you're a taxpayer here in another way.
See, that's a problem with regards to the registration, because if you work here, and that allows you to get a library card, that's a very, that could be a key element.
Could be,
With
yeah.
regards to registration, that was the reason I was bringing it up. I know that this is an issue for those of us who've been very involved with the school budget.
But I didn't think New Rochelle was saying the library card could be used to prove residency. I thought I thought the person said it was another district.
The problem is there's one document on the site, and then it says, go here for the full list of documents, and on the full list of documents, one of the documents is a library card, because that's a government-issued card. So.
It's fascinating.
But it's
to
not
me.
just one document that they have to present, right?
Exactly, so you would have that and.
And a utility bill,
But
or whatever.
The problem is that, I wouldn't want to have a resident, someone produce that, and then we, the library, would be putting the district in an untenable situation.
So I guess my only question is, how did that come to be? Why is the library card there? Who put that there? Why is it there?
and it holds the same weight as a
But no,
state
why is
ID
it there?
and passport.
I'm trying to find,
You used to only able to get one as a resident.
I guess.
That's
Are you saying, Deirdre, why is the school district using the library card as a form of identification? Yeah, and I would be concerned about that because there's no ID attached to it. And as you said, most of our cards are New Rochelle residents, but there are a certain number that are maybe people from other counties who have chosen to spend $75 for a card, or people who work in the city. So
Maybe someone here would talk to someone at the school district side administratively and say,
You don't see it there?
do what you do in terms of.
well, to be honest with you, I'm happy to talk to anybody at the school district. I had no idea that this was happening.
What he said.
No, I know.
He said it, so I guess I just don't, I want to make,
What's written?
because it's how me and Denise are buddies, because we've been, and I'm a little obsessed with, because I clearly have no life, with the school district site,
That's too much life.
And I remember in the meeting a reference, because I've seen the list, I don't see the library card on the link.
It is there.
The guy who gave the presentation at that last board meeting.
He said library.
He said that the library.
He did.
card
Who is he?
But at the,
Dr.
in-
Coletti.
Because you have to provide proof of residency to
Get-
acquire
right.
New Rochelle Library.
So the point, he said that, and I looked at you, Daniel, when he said that, I was like, really? So the issue really is that you don't have to be a resident to have one. That's the issue, and so it's a false, it's wrong. It's just wrong
Based on a false
information.
premise.
Yeah, it's a false premise,
but
that's
I think-
all. So we should just correct
I
it.
want to just be careful before we overspeak. There's partnership and then there's sort of boundaries. And because I was at that meeting as well and recall the reference to the library card being under more of an example of another district and not necessarily the specific, because that's his experience, right? And so he talked about his experience and what was used there. I don't recall him listing that as the document to be used in New Rochelle, and having read the list, read the FAQs, and having read the link that was referred to, I still don't see it. I just, okay. I just want to be careful before we start, things like it's wrong, or, let's just
But I actually think it's a simple conversation between Tom, who understands everything about, everything about how you get a card, these are the different ways, And Coletti, because he
Happy
knows
to
the
reach
law,
out to him.
and to me, it seems it doesn't have to be contentious at all.
It's really a factual.
It's a factual thing. If
Information
it's
sharing
wrong,
of
it's, yeah, I don't think it has to be, it should not be
It
contentious.
shouldn't be contentious. I think the big picture is we just want to also, I want to just make sure that we don't sort of use our time here when there's so much going on in the library to sort of litigate or review or sort of comment on another process, that's all. And it just sort of it felt like we were headed that way. And that's all.
Okay. Okay. Do you, okay.
Shall I reach out to Dr. Coletti?
I would say yes, just because
No,
if
no,
it's wrong,
clear it
it's
up, right.
wrong.
Clear it
If it's
up.
wrong, it's wrong, and clear
And
it
if
up.
there's confusion, if we're both at the same
What is
meeting and
his-
we're hearing
what is
different
his
things, then
title?
clear it up,
Sarah?
right? But
Dr. Coletti, he is.
He's the guy doing
re-registration.
re-registration.
he's on the website, if you look up
Got it.
registration,
And
like,
he's a New Rochelle School District administrator?
he's a consultant.
Oh, consultant.
He's a Port Chester
That's my question.
superintendent,
Right.
but he's
Is it
consulting
exclusive
the
to
high
only
school
the library
re-registration
card? You must
process.
have that
His
somewhere.
his name is on the
It's not
school
the
board
only
website, if you look under the
document.
FAQs, it's
Right.
there.
And it could very well be an outdated document, but.
It could be.
It's here, Tom.
Unrelated to library business.
Right.
Huh?
But unrelated to library business in general.
It's like one for yourself plus 3 others, right? So you have to prove who you are, then prove relation to the child, and then 3 others respect to actual address.
So it's
So I
not,
guess the-
I actually don't think it's a big deal. It's an easy question to answer.
It was a framing, right?
Okay.
We're just trying to think about what we're doing.
But I think it's an addition to.
Yes.
It's not exclusive.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an addition to, so you have to have other documents
But you know what?
in
It's a
addition
good
to.
Conversation for him to have with
Yeah.
them, because, yeah, you guys are the administrators. I'd like to move on. Okay, so I'm going to move on while they figure that out. So update on TAN and the ban agreement. We just did that. We're not going to talk
Right,
about that.
but I would like to talk about the recent action with our bond anticipation notes.
Oh, okay.
Just very briefly, the board had
Yeah.
voted to convert the ban anticipation note into bonds. We had worked with a capital markets advisor, which also works with the New Rochelle School District. And just to very, very briefly summarize, as you folks know, we had, our ban was up for renewal in mid-July, a series of, a renewal series of notes. And the board decided to issue long-term series bonds, long-term maximum 14-year term. And the amount of the financing is $1,156,756. So we had very positive success with this effort. James Nyko came to myself and I shared with Chuck and Deirdre as well. The Bank of Greene County submitted the most competitive bid on a 14-year term at a true interest cost of 3.39%. And so Bank of Greene County was awarded
Very
that.
good.
And so we're
We're
moving
fine.
forward.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm sure, Jean, you were helpful on that too, so. Thank you. Okay, fine. My information then is fine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so great. I'm going to move on to the Personnel Committee. The only thing, we talked about this last month, just to move forward, Daniel, Yadir, and I will be doing Tom's review, and I just want to set out the timeline, and that's it. This is the plan moving forward. We are going to compare various performance review tools to come up with one that allows us to measure and encourage Tom's performance. That's going to happen by the August meeting, so we actually hope to have a performance tool by the August meeting. And then at that August meeting, we will present the tool and we will communicate the process of the review. We're hoping that by the beginning of September, we'll be able to give the tool to you and we'll be able to work through that. We're hoping to be done with the review late October, enough to finish out the year.
Cool.
So that's the process.
That's good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Does anybody here have any questions? Okay, good. Okay, finally, special committee?
I think policy, we need, once we have the new
Policy,
committee,
sorry.
that's a meeting that has to be scheduled, but I'll email everyone tonight. We can finalize our committees, and then special projects, no?
Special projects?
The only report I had was I had a phone call from Steve Brown, who is at New Rochelle High School and manages our videography on the cable broadcast system. He was upset. He said, I was confused. We never connected, that they had no power in the high school for 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
There's something
Do you know about that, Dan?
Yeah, they're doing construction to the building. That's why a lot of the programs like summer schools moved to Albert Leonard.
Right.
So, so there's no power there at all.
Till when? Do you know?
I don't know. They told us to probably till August 10th.
Wow.
But,
So according to,
I would expect further out.
according to Steve, no power means nothing on cable TV.
Oh, wow.
That's what he said. And I haven't been able to track him down to really understand
Just say,
the
that
full
doesn't make any
implications. It seems kind of crazy, but I'm working on it. I'll share with you once I know something.
Yeah, thank you. Does anybody have anything to add? Oh, wow. So how do I do this?
Bang, adjourn.
You have to make a motion.
I'll
I have
make a
to make a
motion.
motion. I just wanted to bang it.
But not.
She can do it again.
You can still do it. You can do
I can do it again. I'd like to make a motion that this meeting is ending now.
Second.
Now,
All in favor? Hooray!
Bang.
Aye.
whoa.
I like it, I like it.
Chuck likes it.